Luca is a story of friendships that are authentic and only found around a certain age.
Cool to be talking to you about a movie because we've actually never spoken about any of your acting work or film work, and obviously Pixar, they're in a kind of a league of their own. So Jim, tell me how you reacted when Pixar said, "Hey, we want you to come voice Lorenzo and Luca."
You know, Pixar, it's just amazing how they always nail the landing, right? I don't know if I think it's illegal for Pixar to make bad movies. I don't know how they do it, but yeah, I was very excited.
Tell me a little bit about, what did you like about the story? I mean, you just said Pixar, they always stick the landing, but what about Luca sort of resonated with you, Jim?
Well, I think so many different things, one of which is that special relationship you have with friends that kind of bring you along in your emotional and kind of personality development. So like seeing how Luca's relationship with Julia affected his life, and also how even though he remains friends with people, because we all have friends that we've known our entire life, but like when you were friends, maybe as teenagers, you had so much more in common, but that doesn't diminish the affinity you feel for the person. So I think it really captures that. I think it also really captures this notion that this arc about parenting, there is a letting go that parents have to take. It's not to get all Khalil Gibran, but it's like they're on loan.
I did not know that you weren't always a stand-up comic. You actually had a day job. You quit your day job and you became a stand-up comic. So Jim, tell me a little bit about that and the decision to do that and take that leap of faith.
Newfoundland is like the crazy uncle that you don't introduce to friends until you've known them for a long time.
I was raised, my father was the first one to go to college. So it was very kind of like whatever you can do to stay in the middle class. So, you get a job where you wear a coat and tie. And so I was kind of encouraged to study finance and to wear a tie to work. And I didn't really like it, but I had followed, what people told me to do, like everyone else. But I never really thought about what I wanted to do. And so I was probably, 23, 24 when I realized that, this kind of the entertainment industry as, from this small town that I grew up in, saying that I wanted to be a comedian or an actor is just absurd, or back then. Now it feels like the entertainment industry is much more of a middle class job where you wouldn't necessarily start, but like there was, stand-up comedy was, like there would be like 1 in 1,000 that would make a living doing it.
You didn't get fame right away. Were there a lot of times where you thought, I need to throw in the towel? How did you quiet those voices of doubt?
You'll hear stories about people that pursue acting and then they go to law school. Well, I did the kind of conventional road and was so dissatisfied with it that, and I struggled very much, that I came to the conclusion that, okay, I'm going to be the weird uncle that lives in New York City, that lives in a tiny apartment, and that's okay. And I do stand up and no one really cares, and I do commercials and small parts in acting. So I was, there was, like the ambition was not reaching results. So I had to come to the conclusion that I just am doing it because I enjoy it. I know that sounds kind of like incredibly un-American almost, but it was kind of a moment of peace. It was like, all right, I'm never going to get into the Montreal Comedy Festival. I'm never going to be on a late night show. Like all my peers and friends had done late night with Conan O'Brien and Letterman and the Tonight Show. And I was kind of the last one. But there was a year or two before that where I was like, you know what, I might not get that. So it was kind of like I had to get all like Zen Buddhist with it.
So how surprised were you then that it was the Hot Pockets joke that became, the thing that everybody knew Mr. Jim Gaffigan about?
I'm moving a little slow tonight. I had a Hot Pocket for dinner. I've never eaten a Hot Pocket and then afterwards been, I'm glad I ate that.
I had done stand-up and I was touring and I was headlining, and I had this joke about the manatee that was very popular, where if I didn't do it, people would be like, I brought my friend here to hear your manatee joke and you didn't do it. So when the Hot Pocket joke started gaining popularity, I was like, well, this is just like the manatee joke. It'll eventually move on. And then I had bacon jokes, and then but the Hot Pocket thing is just, it kind of lingers. If I died today, it would be Hot Pocket guy dies.